What if every breath you take is not for survival, but for domination? What if the essence of life is not to exist, but to overcome existence? Let that haunt you, because Nietzsche meant every word. Life, as he saw it, was not something to be endured. It was something to conquer, not through violence, but through self-overcoming. He didn't seek comfort. He sought resistance. He sought the edge where most people break, and called it the beginning. To live was never enough. To adapt, cowardice. To obey, decay. The world does not reward the one who survives. It remembers the one who transforms pain into power. This is the truth beneath your suffering. You are not meant to be safe. You are meant to burn, to become more, to stand where others fall. What is happiness? He asked. The feeling that power increases, that a resistance is overcome. You won't find yourself in ease. You'll find yourself in agony when you choose to face it. You'll find yourself in conflict when you stop running. And in that crucible, you don't survive. You become. What if I told you that your pursuit of safety is what's killing you? You wake up, you eat, you scroll, you nod, you survive, but you don't live. Not really, because the moment you made comfort your god, you made yourself a slave. Nietzsche saw it clearly, this modern sickness, this quiet suicide masked as normalcy. A life so diluted, it no longer feels like life. You've been told to preserve yourself, but preserved things rot. You're not meant to be stored. You're meant to be tested, torn, reforged. Darwin spoke of survival, of adapting, of fitting in. But Nietzsche didn't want to adapt. He wanted to ascend, to rise through pain, not escape it, to use suffering like a blade, not a burden. Because survival, mere survival, is a function of fear. And fear is the true master of the herd. Self-preservation, he said, is the expression of distress. It is what the cornered animal does, what the trembling prey hopes for. But life, true life, is not about staying alive. It's about amplifying your power, even if it kills you, especially if it might. He saw it in everything. The roots of a tree bursting through rock. The lion that doesn't hunt for hunger alone, but for the thrill of dominion. Even in man, in his madness, in his longing, in his chaos. Nietzsche did not worship peace. He revered conflict, because only through resistance do you become real. You think comfort is your right? It's your poison. The moment you chose ease over growth, you began your slow death. Power isn't comfort. Power is pressure. It is the heat that cracks your old skin and demands you rise. Not just higher, but sharper. Not just stronger, but stranger. The will to power is not domination over others. It's domination over your lower self, the lazy self, the frightened self, the self that says, "Let me rest here. I've done enough." No, that voice must die. Because in Nietzsche's world, and in yours, only those who overcome themselves command themselves. You must become the one who says, "I choose pain, because pain is proof I'm becoming. I choose the mountain, because the abyss taught me how to climb. I choose the storm, because silence made me forget my roar." This is not motivation. This is truth. You've been sold a lie, that life is about avoiding the fall. But Nietzsche laughs at that. He who climbs the highest mountains laughs at all tragedies, real or imagined. So what is happiness? Not a smile, not a warm bed, not applause. Happiness is this: the raw, searing thrill of power increasing inside you. The sacred moment when resistance breaks and you remain. They told you your instincts were dangerous, that your desire was sin, that your fire needed to be put out. And you listened. You folded. You began to hide the wildness inside you like a crime scene. But Nietzsche knew better. He saw the lie underneath the sermons, the trembling behind the robes, the war declared not on evil, but on life itself. Religion did not cleanse you. It crippled you. It taught you that guilt is virtue, that restraint is holiness, that silence is grace. But what if guilt was simply fear, dressed as morality? What if your shame was not yours, but inherited, absorbed, injected like venom? Christianity didn't elevate man, it castrated him. It broke the wild horse and called it salvation. And society, it continued the work. It stamped out passion, repackaged it as politeness. It called surrender maturity. Told you to cut off pieces of your soul so you could fit in. But the soul cannot breathe in cages. It withers. It turns against itself. And the man who denies his instincts, he doesn't become pure. He becomes dead inside. Nietzsche didn't fear the beast. He feared the coward. The man too scared to ride his hunger, too civilized to roar. Because instincts are not the enemy. They are the fuel. They are raw, primitive, brutal. Yes, but they are also sacred. The will to power does not crush them. It transforms them. That is the secret. Not repression, not suppression. Sublimation. It is alchemy. It is turning blood into poetry, sex into symphony, rage into rebellion. The weak man amputates his passion to feel clean. The strong man rides it to create something divine. You were not made to be sterile. You were made to overflow, to erupt, to channel. Making music, Nietzsche said, is another way of making children. Because creation is not always flesh. Sometimes it's rhythm. Sometimes it's madness given form. Sometimes it's you, taking everything dark and wild in you and making it sing. This is what separates decay from destiny. Decay is when your instincts turn inward. They fester. They poison. They rot your will from the inside. But sublimation? That is the path of the Creator, the one who feels the same urges, but wields them like a sword. Do you think the Übermensch is pure? He is not. He is whole. He is not calm. He is mastered. The will to power includes the chaos, but it commands it. This is why the weak will never understand greatness. They think virtue is softness. They think goodness is quiet. They think strength is absence of fire. But the strong man, he burns, and he builds with the ashes. So stop apologizing for your desire. Stop hiding your rage. Stop kneeling in the name of balance. You don't need to erase the beast. You need to train it. You need to give it a pen, a mic, a canvas, a mission. Because if you don't, that beast turns on you, and it drags you into mediocrity, into depression, into a life that feels like death. You want power? Then ride what's inside you, not away from it, but through it, not to escape, but to create. Because there are only two paths, sublimation or decay. Choose wisely. You've been told to avoid chaos, to organize, to plan, to be put together. But deep down you know, you are not here for peace. You are here for war. Not a war of armies, but a war within, against your comfort, against your illusions, against every quiet lie that says, you're fine as you are. You are not fine. You are unfinished. And that's why you suffer. But suffering is not failure. It is friction. And friction is where something new is born. Nietzsche didn't fear the abyss. He walked into it. He stared so long. It stared back. And then he wrote. Because only in chaos does something truly original emerge. You want to be reborn? Then you must first collapse. The womb is not a spa. It is pressure. It is darkness. It is blood and terror and transformation. The star is not born in silence. It explodes into being. Your struggle is not some detour on the way to your purpose. It is your purpose. It's the initiation rite of becoming who you are. So stop asking for the pain to stop. Ask what it's building. Because decadence isn't pain. It's refusing to use your pain. It's comfort in place of rebirth. Stagnation instead of fire. You think balance will save you? Balance is overrated. You weren't made to be calm. You were made to burn, to rupture, to climb out of your own skin and become something terrifyingly new. One must still have chaos in oneself. Not manage it, not silence it, not medicate it, but have it, feel it, wrestle with it like Jacob in the dark, to give birth to a dancing star. The star is not born by avoiding the abyss. It is born through it. So when you scream, don't run, listen. That scream might be the sound of the old self cracking open. And behind it, the first breath of the real you. You were not meant to be stable. You were meant to transform. Every scar, every sleepless night, every quiet breakdown is a piece of the architecture, of the self you're meant to forge. So stop fearing the chaos. Stop fearing the wild. Stop fearing what breaks your routine, your narrative, your mask. That's not the end. It's the beginning. Because only the one who bleeds, who weeps, who walks through fire without asking for permission, only that one can dance at the edge of existence. Only that one becomes the star. You think power means control, titles, obedience, followers. But Nietzsche didn't write for kings. He wrote for the man at war with himself. Because true power is not about bending others. It's about breaking your old self over and over and over again until nothing false remains. That is the will to power, not the hand that commands, but the soul that endures transformation. Zarathustra didn't preach submission. He rejected disciples. He didn't want you to follow. He wanted you to create, to build yourself from the wreckage. He said, I lack the lion's voice for commanding. Because the Übermensch is not a leader. He is a threshold, a crossing, a becoming. The last man wants comfort. The Übermensch wants struggle. The herd wants rules. The great man wants resistance. And the greatest resistance is not the world. It's you, the lazier you, the addicted you, the obedient, cowardly version of you. That's who you must kill. Not once, daily. Because the will to power isn't something you choose. It chooses you. It owns you. It devours the parts of you that cling to safety. And you must let it. You must walk willingly into the storm. Not because you enjoy suffering, but because you know who you are meant to be is buried underneath it. The climb is brutal. It tears your ego, shreds your certainty, destroys the map of who you thought you were. But if you survive the climb, you laugh. Not because the pain is gone, but because you've transcended it. He who climbs upon the highest mountains laughs at all tragedies, real or imagined. Because when you reach that peak, nothing beneath can touch you. Not the critics, not the past, not even fate. This is why most will never rise. Because they don't want to confront their own shadow. They would rather dominate others than discipline themselves. They would rather be feared by the world than feared by their mirror. But Nietzsche saw through it all, and he gave you this truth. You don't become powerful by winning. You become powerful by overcoming. Not the world, You. That's the secret. That's the challenge. And that's why it's so rare. Because to overcome yourself is to die and be reborn in the same body. To walk among others who will never understand what you had to burn to get here. And still, you walk, with fire in your chest, with silence in your step, with power in your blood. Not power over others, power over your becoming. And that, Nietzsche tells us, is the highest mountain, the final rebellion, the ultimate laugh. You don't need to be chosen. You need to choose yourself. This world doesn't owe you recognition. It doesn't care how hard you tried. It only reflects what you embody. And if you don't rise, it forgets you. The will to power is not a concept. It's a crucifixion, a death, a rebirth. It's not about strength. It's about self-overcoming, day after day, layer after layer, until only the essential remains. And that essential? It isn't perfect. It isn't pure. It is dangerous. It is alive. The ones who wait to be saved will rot waiting. The ones who wait for signs will only see fog. But the one who steps forward, alone, bleeding, burning, laughing, that one becomes. So I'll ask you, what part of yourself must die so the real you can live? Comment it, speak it, burn it. Comment, I am the chaos. Share this with someone still sedated by comfort, still sleepwalking through a life that isn't theirs. Wake them, or leave them. But choose, because the time for waiting is over.